Caitlin Clark's T-shirt should have said, "Pay me what you owe me," in capital letters. And even her contract, I don't want it. That garbage. If you want me to play, you give me a personal service contract. I work for the owner as a personal service deal, not a part of any union structure so that she can make the peanuts that they're giving her. She is by far the reason we're even having a conversation. Pay me what you owe me. They owe her. The rest of the women in the WNBA, not so much.
Rob Parker demands the WNBA to pay Caitlin Clark. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
There's no doubt about it. And, Kelvin, I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to mince words or whatever. They want 50% of the revenue and all that. That's what the
that's
right. They
the
want
other
they
leagues,
want
yeah.
they want that. Like the NBA, they want 50%
happening.
of whatever is brought in, and that's they're only getting 9%, but they want 50%. And I say, no way, no how for the majority of the women in the WNBA. But if you ask me about Caitlin Clark, she deserves 50% of the revenue coming in.
Yeah, that's a fact. Caitlin Clark should be the highest paid WNBA athlete. Think about what she's doing. The numbers back it up. When she's not playing, viewership is low, ticket sales are low. Caitlin Clark deserves $1 million plus, and then eventually everybody will get their money, but it starts with Caitlin Clark.
And they deserve the continued 9%. Because when she's not involved, it's business as usual, which is what we had for the previous 30 years of the WNBA, which is not that good. She is the one. You guys can deny it all you want, say it's not fair, this and that. She moves the needle. There's no deny. The numbers are there.
I don't know who can deny that.
I don't. People act like, oh, it's not her. Really? And here's the other thing. The other night, All-Star Game, they wore those black T-shirts. Mm-hmm. Caitlin Clark's T-shirt should have said, "Pay me what you owe me," in capital letters.
Yeah, I think that's obvious, and she knows it, but she's just being a good team player, trying to fit amongst the group. But she knows that she's moving the needle way more than Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, Plum, or whoever her name is. People are hating on her still. The commissioner doesn't want to mention Caitlin Clark on the island by herself. She's trying to mesh everybody together, but we already know who the golden goose of the WNBA is, and that's Caitlin Clark.
You heard about me bounds? This is about me being paid. Caitlin Clark deserves to be paid. I'm going to take it a step further.
Cut that check.
She should opt out of the WNBA union deal where all players, split the merchandise and all this stuff. She should opt out. Because I'm going to give you a couple names of players who opted out. Michael Jordan opted out of the NBA. He's not taking the same cut as the 12th man on an NBA roster, okay?
On a random team.
Exactly. He's not taking that. Barry Bonds opted out of baseballs. He's not taking that for what the 25th man on a baseball roster back then was getting. Everybody gets the same amount of money. They both opted out. She should opt out of anything involving the other players.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't know that was possible. I thought everybody had to agree to terms. But if she can opt out of that union deal and then come up with her own deal that's going to pay her based off the results that she's driving to the W, I think that'd be a good look for Caitlin Clark, but at the same time a bad look because the media, they're going to destroy her. They're going to try to put her on an island by herself, call her selfish. But if I'm Caitlin Clark and her reps, I'm really reaching out behind the scenes to those union reps and be like, you know what? I think my client, what she's doing to the WNBA, bringing all the viewership and money, she needs to be the highest paid athlete in the W. It needs to happen.
And even her contract, I don't want it. That garbage, if you want me to play, you give me a personal service contract to the owner. You know what I mean? I work for him or her, whoever owns what is the name of that team? The Indiana Fever? Yeah. I work for the owner as a personal service deal, not a part of any union structure so that she can make the peanuts that they're giving her. She is by far the reason we're even having a conversation about the WNBA, about anything involving money and ratings and ticket sales. It's her. Go out and get a T-shirt. Caitlin Clark's T-shirt.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark is making a 4-year, like 330 contract, $330K. She should really be in the $1 million+ range per season. So it's obvious that she's getting lowballed, but I guess she wants to fit amongst the group, be a team player, doesn't want to be outspoken, wants to, walk amongst the other females in the league. But at the same time, those same females that are, begging for pay, those are the same chicks that are turning their back on Caitlin, throwing shots at her every chance they get. So if you're Caitlin, if you want to continue to hate me, give them a real reason to hate you and go ahead and get that check, opt out of that union deal and try to get your money up.
Pay me what you owe me. They owe her. The rest of the women in the WNBA, not so much.
Real talk.
She clearly is the sun in everything orbits around her, without a doubt. She is the gravity that pulls everybody in, that pulls the viewership, that pulls the sponsorships, that pulls the chartered planes, all that good stuff. And so everything, I'm with you. She clearly, her worth, we all know what it is. WNBA has skyrocketed since her ascension. The women's college basketball tournament, it rose because of her, without a doubt. The only thing where I will throw a caveat in this is money isn't everything to everybody, especially when you're still making good money. What I mean by that is I think she realizes she has a chance to help be a part of something. She's been very vocal about how she wants to be a part of the movement to get women to be paid more. She wants to be a part of the movement to get what they believe they deserve. She wants to be a part of the elevation of the game, both from a notoriety standpoint, from a critically acclaimed standpoint, from a viewership standpoint, and a financial standpoint.
Yeah, tell that to LeBron James, the person that you glaze a lot. He opted into that $52 million contract, and he got a lot of money outside the court, but he didn't really say nothing about that. But with Caitlin Clark, she's supposed to be cool with making, a 4-year, $300K contract, even though she's getting multiple millions outside. Hey, get as much money as you can because her talents are the reason why she's able to get that much money outside the court. So the money she's getting outside the court, it should at least match or make a little bit more on the court than what she's doing with those deals. So it's obvious again, Caitlin doesn't want to be an issue, doesn't want to overstep, but she knows she should be getting paid the most. And again, if they're going to hate on her anyways, I'm going to give you more reasons to hate on me when I'm walking to the bank depositing those $1 million checks.
And she very much wants to be a part of that. And I think that's why, as big as she is, she often opts to kind of be a part of the team. She often opts to, I'll just be there and do what we're all doing, and I'll make sure or in this case, I won't be seen for a reason so that I don't blow up the spot. To me, she strikes me as somebody who wants her legacy to be, I was a great player, but also look what I did for the game. And that's why I think she's not going to put herself on an island. Or it's all about me, take care of me, look at me. Because
Michael Jordan and Barry Bonds did it for a reason. Because it's not a fair. It's not the equity is not.
No, I'm not. Jordan and
Barry Bonds were not.
Scott Hastings are not the same guy in the NBA,
and they shouldn't get the same.
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah, again, I know Caitlin Clark doesn't want to put herself on an island, but she is the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. Solid league before her, but a much better league with her. If Caitlin Clark decides to leave the WNBA, retire early, they're going to take a million steps back. All the progress that they made over the last 2 years is pretty much going to be destroyed if Caitlin Clark is injured for a season or decides to step away. So if I'm Caitlin, I'm looking at other leagues to where, I can make, $1 million+ per year going to this league, maybe going overseas. Again, it may not happen, but you got to look into those opportunities if you're Caitlin Clark and her representatives.
But I'm saying
But that's separating yourself from membership is what it is, and I can't be mad at somebody who moves the needle that much.
And I would argue, for the relative respect of sports, she's equal to Jordan in that regard, maybe even bigger in that regard of what she brings versus compared to him, the singular person. But again, I think she's standing for something bigger. I think she looks at, you look at a Billie Jean King. I'm trying to do more for women's tennis. I'm trying to get them paid more. I'm trying to get Title IX. I'm trying to do all of this. And I think that's, to me, equally what her mission is. Not just to be great, not just to watch my bank account grow, but I want part of my legacy to be, look what I also helped build.
Yeah, forget all that. Good that she's trying to, help the W, but you can help yourself and the W at the same time, because if she's getting paid all that money, maybe instead of players making 9%, maybe they'll make 20%. But it's impossible to just, okay, we have an influx of money, multiple billions, and then everybody gets a pay raise. They've been non-profitable since they started back in 96. They had a year or two where they made some money, but for the most part, if a business is losing money like that, no one's getting a raise after a good season. It takes more than that, so it's going to take time for everybody to get their money, but it starts with Caitlin Clark. You got to pay her first and then pay everybody else second.
Look at the legacy I left behind from those younger
can't do
hoopers.
it. She can't do it with the rest of the women and the league, because the numbers aren't going to allow you to do that. And her showing her worth.
But she ain't got to show it. At this point, it is clear. There's no more number or indicator that we can't do.
But the numbers doing that by saying, no, you're not going to shortchange me. No, under any circumstance, as a woman especially, I'm not going to take what everybody else is taking when obviously my numbers dictate something else. Michael Jordan did it, Barry Bonds did it, and she should do it.
Here's the difference.
Yeah, facts, man. Rob Parker really speaking the truth right now. People may not want to hear it. They're going to try to change the narrative to a black and white thing. But no matter what color Caitlin Clark is, you can't deny the impact. Caitlin Clark needs to be paid immediately. And then again, everybody else will get their money, but it starts with Caitlin Clark. You don't got to hate on the other players. This is just real. Look at the data. Look at the stats. Look at the viewership and the merch and the ticket sales. It's all pointing towards Caitlin Clark, and she needs to be the highest paid W athlete.